It's official. Toronto retaining the crown of Rattiest City in Canada, despite Victoria out west nipping at our heels.
Yeah, that is according to the latest numbers from Orkin Canada. So joining us live now for more on what is on this list is Dale Kirk, GTA Regional Manager at Orkin Canada. Dale, good morning to you. Once again, Toronto retains our beloved title of Rattiest City in Canada. Are you surprised by this? I'll tell you, I'm actually surprised that the city of Victoria came in second place. Are you?
Not really. Good morning. It's typically any of the larger populated places with the high density of buildings and people are going to be the worst for rats. It's just, a lot more opportunity for food supply in harborage areas for them.
What is the concern here, Dale, when it comes to rats? I mean, I think it's fairly obvious you're in the business of getting rid of them. You're kind of like the Pied Piper, but, with better tools. What are the concerns about cities that have significantly, increased levels of rats?
Biggest concerns, there's always health hazards with, especially when rats get into any food related areas, they're crawling through the dirtiest, grimiest areas, picking up bacteria and then crawling across food prep surfaces, contaminating food areas, their droppings, urine as they're going along. So there's a definite health hazard to that, but also as a rodent, they're continually gnawing. They like to chew on things all the time. So they will do property damage, but along with that can be wires, whether it's in a wall void or in an attic area. And if they're chewing on wires, that can be a fire hazard, obviously, big safety issue there, but also just damaging the structures and be very expensive to repair.
So I'm looking at the list, Dale, and it shows Toronto, Victoria, Vancouver, Burnaby, Richmond, Mississauga, Kelowna, Ottawa, Scarborough, Moncton. It seems like a fight between the cities in kind of Ontario versus BC here, but there are two cities that made it back to the list, Moncton and Ottawa. What does it say when a city goes back on the list? Is that kind of telling of increased immigration, more development? What are some trends you're also seeing?
Yeah, some of it is based on, sightings and reports and call-ins to our office. So some of it could be displacement, construction in areas that moves rats around a lot and gets them into new areas. And obviously that's a report for when they call us. But could be seasonal issues with climate. If there's, last year was a very mild winter. So rats were able to survive a lot more and keep breeding at a high pace all through the winter. So, and depending on certain specific areas, whether it's warmer or milder during those times, it can increase their reproduction.
Dale, I'm curious, every now and then, especially on sort of garbage or recycling day, I see the occasional rat and I think to myself, that's not the only one. If you see one, there are more. So what are some indications that, in and around your house or maybe your neighbor, like what should you be looking for just to sort of go, hey, maybe I do need to call Orkin because maybe there's a rat situation here?
Yeah, this time of year, obviously, if you get a little bit of snow, you're going to see the tracks, so that's really obvious. But other times you'll see gnaw marks, holes, chewed door sweeps where they chew up corners of it to get access, chewing around holes around a gas line or any kind of lines, areas coming into the house, they'll make the hole bigger. They don't need very much of an area to get inside. So typically even a flat gap, a horizontal gap that's about half an inch, they'll be able to squeeze under, or an inch in a circle. I kind of, tell a lot of our customers if they're looking for areas for access to try and do the rodent proofing to prevent them from coming in, to simply do the tuning test. Everyone knows what that is, and have one of those, using a tuning and the center portion that's the golden colored is the size of a flat horizontal gap that a rat can get through. And the entire size of the toonie is a hole that's plenty big enough for an adult rat to get through.
Wow.
So it's a good thing as you're going around and inspecting your premises.
Yeah, okay. Orkin has plenty of tips to keep your property safe from rats, especially with people winterizing and storing their patio umbrellas and furnitures and pillows. You don't want the rats to chew them up. Dale Kirk, GTA Regional Manager at Orkin Canada. Thank you so much for giving us that example of the Toonie test. I'm going to use it going forward. Appreciate it.